Hello and welcome to the Today's Homeowner Weekly Podcast. We're here to help you with the challenges we all face as homeowners. I'm Danny Lifford.
And I'm Joe Truini. And each week, Danny and I are here on the podcast to answer any and all home improvement questions.
And we want to hear from you. Send us your questions or comments at todayshomeowner.com/podcast.
Okay, Danny, let's get started.
Today's Homeowner Podcast is brought to you by the Home Depot, How Doers Get More Done. This week, we look at a problem that's a tough one to solve when a homeowner tells us all about a brand new concrete driveway that has a really bad rust stain on it. She's already tried a number of things. We're going to give her a few other ideas of things that she can try.
Yeah, those rust stains, especially on new concrete, are
Soaks
really tough
right in.
Yeah, because they're not sealed. The new concrete's probably not sealed, so any little stain will soak right in. We're also going to give you some eco-friendly remodeling tips, and Chelsea Lipford-Wolf is going to join us to share her expertise.
Now, also on our project of the week, we want to tell you a really surefire way of cleaning the soot off of your fireplace surround. You know, you may have put a little bit too much wood on the fire, and maybe a little bit of it sneaked out, and it's just so unsightly. Well, don't worry about it. We've got a way that we can easily help you clean it off.
And I've got a simple solution on how to use an ironing board when you're working inside a sink cabinet.
Okay, that's a mystery there.
How is that possible?
We'll have to see how that correlates together. But anyway, let's get started. Well, let's get back to business right now, and with visiting with Patsy down in Florida. Patsy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about this. I hear you're a little frustrated about something.
Yes, we are. We have a new home that we've been in for about 6 months, but we have a very large and stubborn rust stain on the garage floor, and it happened during construction. And the builder has tried to clean it with iron out, as well as some pretty hefty pressure washing, but it hasn't budged it, and it possibly could have antifreeze in it too because it was a radiator stain. Mm-hmm. But we wondered if you have any suggestions.
Okay. That reminds me of recently I saw a gentleman drive up to do some work at a house, and it was funny. He drove up, he stopped his truck, he went around behind his truck, and he had tucked a piece of cardboard. It was about 3 foot by 6 foot. And I said, "What is he doing with that cardboard?" And he meticulously slipped it right under, I guess, his transmission or something that was leaking a little bit of oil. And so I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty nice, and
that was super.
Yeah, and maybe
cheaper than buying a new transmission. Too.
Yeah, I know it, but maybe he's gotten in a little trouble before, and he said, "That's not going to happen again. Give me that piece of cardboard." Well, Joe, what do you think? What can Patsy do? Maybe she's a lot of effort's been made here, and of course we would assume the concrete was not sealed because it soaked right in, because it's so it's so porous, Patsy, on something like that. But Joe, what would you think that she should try at this point?
Yeah, Patsy, thanks for sending a photograph because it clearly shows a pretty long serpentine stain on your new garage floor there. Yeah. What I would recommend starting with is just some white vinegar. Just get regular old white vinegar. Pour it onto the stain. You could try it on just one small section of it, I guess, see if it works. Let it sit for about 20 minutes or so. If it starts to dry out, add more. You want to keep it wet. And then after 20 or 30 minutes, scrub it with a stiff bristle nylon scrub brush and then rinse it off with a garden hose. If the stain remains but is lighter in color, then I'd repeat the vinegar solution. Now, if you try that and it doesn't work, they do make industrial strength concrete rust removers. These are removers specifically made for concrete. There's a company called Singerman Laboratories, and they make one. Singerman Laboratories. It comes in powder form. You just mix it with some warm water and apply it to the stains. If that doesn't work, I'm not sure what else to tell you. I'm not sure. I know you can buy it. There's a online store called theruststore.com, and they carry all products for removing rust. So that's what I would try. If the vinegar doesn't work, I would try this industrial strength concrete rust remover.
Well, one quick question. If they decide to stain it with a concrete stain, is that going to hide the stain, or because there's a stain there, does that area maybe going to peel later on?
Yeah, it won't peel, but I suspect it won't hide it. I think what it'll do is it'll cover it, even if you put a really dark stain on it, concrete stain, I think the rust stain would probably show through. So
It
I
will
would,
still
but if you
show.
got it a lot, if you got it lightened it a lot, either with the vinegar or with the industrial strength rust remover, if you lighten it like significantly, but it's not completely invisible, then a stain might cover it up.
I see. Okay.
And don't forget to seal it. Have somebody seal this concrete once it's clean, because you don't want this to happen again.
Seal it before they stain it, or you mean, or
No. Afterwards.
Okay. After.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing they do.
The last step. Okay. Well, thank you. You've been most helpful.
You're very
Given
welcome,
us something
Patsy.
to try.
Good. Our pleasure, and you have a great weekend, Patsy.
Thank you. You too.
All right, let's get
That's
to...
actually a good tip that, there's always an industrial strength product of almost anything you try.
Right.
So, and if you hunt that out, they usually work pretty well.
It's a good way to go. And you find more and more of those industrial level products available at home centers now.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
always consider that. Make it a little easier to work with. Now it's time for our Best New Product segment, brought to you by the Home Depot. How doers get more done. There's no way to escape dirty clothes. So when you're doing the laundry, it's good to have a machine that fits your specific laundry needs. But what if there was a washer that fits every laundry need? The high-efficiency top-loading washing machine from GE has more features on it than a Swiss Army knife. Equipped with a Tide Pod dispense option that includes a dedicated water jet that pierces the detergent pack directly onto the clothes. The washer easily removes 5 of the most common stains with presets available on each of its 12 wash cycles. And no matter which cycle you use, expect a quiet experience thanks to its innovative dynamic balancing technology, meaning a quieter wash with reduced vibration. And for more information on GE's high-efficiency top-load washing machine, log on to HomeDepot.com. I can't stand a loud washing machine. I'm looking forward to my new house with this the sound break drywall around it from National Gypsum.
Right.
I've got my mineral wool insulation in there. I won't even know what's happening in that room, I hope.
So all those days that you have to do laundry, you won't be able to hear.
That's right. Exactly.
When you're in the laundry room, Danny's in the laundry
door
room with his apron.
And because,
this one's got a pod piercer, so I want it right away.
Yeah,
anything that has a pod piercer, I want to order one.
And, one of the things, too, nowadays, of course, everything's got an app. I don't know how many apps I've got on my new house right now, but you have an app on your washing machine that will tell you when the washing machine has completed its cycle. Right now, the house I'm in now, my wife leaves the darn door open. You can't hear the TV because of the washing machine. But why do you leave that door open? Well, I want to hear when the washing machine goes off so I can put it in the dryer. Well, not in the new house. Here's your app, honey. You can take care of that. And she'll go, no, here's your app, honey.
Here's your app. Exactly.
We try to provide you the most up-to-date, realistic home improvement information you're going to get anywhere. And also along the way, we really like to think about our Earth's resources, being eco-friendly, and making sure that we're not wasting anything. I'll tell you, I was raised that way, just not to be wasteful. And my father was a little extreme on that, to the point of even washing and laundering paper towels to dry on the line.
How did you do that?
To be used, the I think they called Viva paper towels that had the little webbing in them. And my father actually would put them in a washing machine and wash them and then hang them on the clothesline so that we could use those for fishing rags when we went fishing.
Oh, there you go.
And they weren't just great, but it's pretty bizarre seeing 78 Viva towels hanging on your clothesline. So he was quite the very conservative, I guess you would say. Now, last week, Chelsea and I, and Chelsea Lipford Wolf is with us right now, making a guest appearance here in the booth. And last week we were on the Weather Channel. We do a lot of live pieces with the Weather Channel, talking about a project that she's about to do, and in general, eco-friendly ways to do a lot of these projects. And Joe, what we're doing is Chelsea has a garage there that she's been contemplating putting a workshop in, and we're about to tackle that now, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm so excited to get it underway. What I have is like a garage that has like 2 different sides and has a wall in the middle, and In my former life, when I had a small car and no children, I could park my car in the garage. But now it's just too small for my mom mobile. And so I might as well use it the way that makes me feel good by creating a workshop so I can work on my projects.
And one of the things she's done, Joe, which a lot of people do, I think is a great idea, holding on to those kitchen cabinets. So when we renovated her kitchen, she held on to these things forever, and now it's going to be perfect for her workshop and, assembling those overhead, even has a base cabinet. The only questionable part, she's painting them pink.
That's not questionable. Pink? That is very
pink.
Sound.
Yeah, but you can't see them from your
right
house,
there.
so what do you care? Maybe she's trying to keep you out of her shop.
There you go. I'm going to tag all my tools pink too, Dad.
Yeah.
But
that is a great use of old cabinets, right? I mean, we see that all the time because sometimes you just bust them up, but often cabinets are replaced either from the existing bathroom or kitchen, not because they're not working properly, they're just old and are out of style or whatever, and rather than fix them or paint them, you get new ones. But they're perfectly good for a garage or workshop or even a shed just to hang them up and create some storage.
Well, during the segment that we did on the Weather Channel, we mentioned a number of very low-cost or no-cost things to really be a little more eco-friendly in any of the work that you're doing around your house.
Yeah, I love to decommission my husband's undershirts, and I cut them up and use them as rags. That way I'm not having to buy rags or use paper towels out in the workshop. They're perfect for staining or cleaning up dust before you paint or whatever.
I'm sure Brandon appreciates that when he goes to grab a new T-shirt, a nice clean T-shirt, like and you're out in the workshop staining a piece of wood. You notice she doesn't recycle her own T-shirts.
That's right.
No.
It's so nice of Brandon to donate his T-shirts.
So kind.
Another thing that I taught Chelsea many, many years ago is the importance of a cereal bowl. Tell us about your cereal bowl.
In more ways than one, Dad.
That's
Dad
right.
and I both enjoy a bowl of cereal after dinner.
Right.
But related to home improvement, a cereal bowl is where you put all of your spare screws and nails, or even not just spare, but leftovers. So if you're removing something and the screw's in perfectly good shape, you put it in your cereal bowl, and that's just your place where you collect everything. And then next time you're working on a project or in the middle of it, you need a new fastener, you don't have to run to the home improvement store. You just go to your cereal bowl and find one that's the right diameter, length, whatever you need, and it's right there.
And I'm sure you have one of those miscellaneous containers like that too, Joe. Just think about how often you need that one screw or something like that, and you say, I got to go to the home center. No, I don't. Look at this. I'm able to grab that.
I have a cookie tin. You know those holiday cookie tins with the metal lid?
Yeah.
Those are great because you can put the lid on it. And
that's very deceptive for a sweets lover like me.
That's right.
Yeah, and you get to eat all the cookies before.
Oh, there you go. No, we took our cereal bowl a step further, and I actually turned it into a game for the kids the other night and had them sort it by size. So my cereal bowl got so big that I had to sort it and create multiple cereal bowls by size and diameter. So they helped me sort.
Another thing that we've done over the years is how you can paint hardware very successfully with a lot of the new spray paint that's available. I mean, they have pewter color, they have gold color, brass color, all kinds of things like that. And if you do just a little bit of preparation on hinges, because what you'll find is a lot of the older hinges are just heavier and better than what you might buy unless you really want to pay some money on them. So that's worked very, very well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I love painting old hardware. It just gives it a fresh look, but also keeps that hardware from going into the landfill. And it's not going to decompose or anything. It's just going to sit there for years. So keeping that out of landfill is a nice eco-friendly way to renovate, if you will.
And Joe, something else that I've done over the years that I think works well, especially with paint being so expensive, is saving the paint, making sure that it doesn't, freeze or anything along those lines. And then you're able to mix a lot of that paint. And a lot of times you can pick certain colors, mix that, and that works perfect for that first coat. Or you might even find that you like the look of it and you use it for the second coat. But holding on to that paint, that certainly saves a little money.
Yeah, I mean, I bought some interior paint recently, and it was over $30 a gallon for interior paint.
I know it.
So an exterior paint's more than twice that. So, yeah, I mean, you can always donate paint, too, to a local Habitat for Humanity or community theaters, drama clubs at high schools are always looking for paint for sets and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, because you can only keep paint for so long, and it's not only clogging up valuable storage space, but, when are you really going to get to that color paint again? Probably never. So I say donate it.
That's right. Absolutely. You mentioned Habitat. The Habitat restores. I don't know if you've been in there lately. They have a lot more than just old used beat up stuff. There's a lot of companies that donate some of their leftover inventory there. There's a lot of brand new stuff there.
A lot of new stuff. That's right.
Oh, yeah. And you're just amazing what you can find there that might just work perfectly for the project you're looking at. And
can you find any cereal bowls?
Yeah, they've got cereal bowls everywhere,
good. All right. Good.
And remember, you can also donate a lot of materials, any cabinets that you may not use and other materials. Don't forget about that part of it. And it's a good way just so that you don't end up with a lot of waste, fill up the landfills. And just remember, if you are buying some new paint, try to go with those zero VOC paints. That's a lot better for you and your environment. We want to remind you that special phone number, 800-946-4420, is the Today's Homeowner Hotline. Thanks to everybody that called us up this week. We appreciate it. If you have a question, comment, or a tip that's worked well for you, pick up the phone, 800-946-4420. Let's go right to the Today's Homeowner Hotline. A number of questions that we received, they want an answer. Let's tackle a few of these.
I want to talk about what I need to do to install or prepare for installation of a hot tub in my basement, particularly concerned about controlling humidity.
Okay, well, first thing you need to do is to make sure all your buddies are ready to help you carry this hot tub. Oh, man, I have moved a lot of hot tubs. And you know what, your friend, a simple little thing that you can use that certainly becomes your friend are short pieces of PVC pipe.
To roll it?
Whether it's 1 inch or whether it's 3 inch, whatever, get you about 6 or 7 of those, and that'll take the place of 4 guys right there and rolling those big boys in there. And hopefully he has a walk-in door in his basement that he's able to bring the tub in, because trying to negotiate that down a set of stairs, that would that could be
especially with the pipes.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't stand at the bottom of the stairs. That's our tip.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have seen many situations where it seemed like a good idea, but it didn't work out so well. Just last year, we did an episode where the lady had a hot tub in this enclosed back porch area, and oh man, the mold and mildew and the humidity was awful. Even though there were windows there and so forth, you really need an exhaust fan. And if you're down in a basement, it might be limiting in what you can do overhead, but certainly on a sidewall, if you're able to install a exhaust fan that you're able to either turn on or has a humidistat on it, that when the humidity gets up to, say, 50%, it turns on automatically and pulls that air through. Extremely important, because you're talking about a big source of moisture when you're talking about a hot tub. And that would be what I recommend, is get some type of ventilation going in there. Don't you think, Joe?
Yeah, unfortunately, those things are nothing but humidity sinks, right? They're just dumping humidity out. There are covers, of course. You should always put the cover on. Not only does it keep the water temperature from cooling off, but it'll protect some of that moisture from drifting into the room. But that is going to be, I think that might be a little hard to control all that moisture without an exhaust fan of some sort.
2 or 3 weeks ago, you fielded a question from one listener who said that when his toilet is flush, there is a loud vibrating noise, and you mentioned there were 2 possibilities, and they were both in the tank. Will you please broadcast it on your radio program? I'll be listening. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm glad you're listening. Yeah, well, the 2 solutions we gave is, I think, first, we weren't sure if it was in the tank or in the wall. Sometimes there's water hammering that can happen on the pipes. But if you're sure it's in the tank, the solution we gave is vibrating noise when you flush the toilet is often the diaphragm, which is a small rubber part that's inside the fill valve, which is inside the toilet tank. You can find replacement diaphragms for most fill valves, but often it's easier. For about $12, you can get a whole new fill valve. So I would just pop out the old one and put in the new one. That's typically how you solve that problem.
Hi, this is Susan in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I have a problem with a door that won't open. It's a cabinet door on a buffet. This was some furniture that my grandmother had given to my mother, and then I inherited it. And we've used it, and so it has been opening, but we don't open it often, and now it won't open at all. And we're trying to get in there and see what's in there. So one side, it seems like the cabinet door won't stay shut, and then the other side, it won't open. It's just a pull thing. You just pull this knob thing, and it's supposed to open, but it seems really stuck. So not sure what to do about that.
All right. Well, a lot of times, wood will swell up a little bit or shift just a little bit. I know at my condo, I have an older piece of furniture like that, and that's the way it is with that. It's not used very often, and a matter of fact, I will pulling on it. I pulled the darn knob right out of there. So, and
good work, Danny.
Followed by my wife saying, "You are going to fix that, aren't you?" So, of course, I did. After a day or two, and but yeah, it'll swell up, and so a lot of times you have to actually remove that door and possibly do a little bit of sanding in those areas. And generally, you can tell by a little bit of the finish or a little bit of wearing of the wood where that contact is taking place. And if it's two doors, a lot of times you can open one and then just use your hand to pop open the other one, but that's generally what's needed. A little bit of adjustment on the hinges and possibly a little bit of sanding in order to reduce that friction. Now, for those cabinet doors that tend to want to open them by themselves, then you have a number of different catches that you can use. Friction catches, magnetic catches, all of those work very, very well and easy to install. So just a little furniture door adjustment is all that's really necessary on that.
I would like your recipe, your mixture for a glass cleaner. I heard it a week or two ago, and I didn't get to write it down.
Okay, well, here it is again. Yeah, this was a simple solution. We've mentioned it occasionally, and it works great. Into a 1-quart spray bottle, you add 1 cup of rubbing alcohol, 2/3 cup of white vinegar, then top off the bottle with water. That's all you need to do. And this is great for not only cleaning glass, but also for almost any hard surface, countertops, appliances, bath fixtures, all sorts of hard floors, wood, vinyl, tile. So that's the recipe. And what I did actually is I used an old Windex. It was an empty Windex spray bottle. And on the label itself, I wrote that recipe down. So this way, when it's almost empty, I've got it written right on with a Sharpie. I wrote it right on the bottle, so I know what ingredients to add and what amounts.
Did you write Joe's Juice? Is that what you wrote on it?
I wrote Joe's Juice on a bottle, but not that one.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering about. Well, there. Hey, if you want to send us leave us a question just like these that we just answered, it's pretty easy. You just go to the Today's Homeowner Hotline, 800-946-4420. You can also send us an email. We get some wonderful emails every week, todayshomeowner.com/ask. I hope everything's going well on whatever project that you're tackling. You know what? The Today's Homeowner listeners, one of the most active homeowners that you have anywhere. We all love to get up and do some things and accomplish things, and it really is a great environment for us to be in. Joe and I love doing projects all the time. We'll never get tired of that, and also love hearing the simple solutions. Joe, share another one with us, please.
Okay, Danny, if you ever had to work inside a sink cabinet, how uncomfortable it is.
Oh, yeah.
And the best way to work you're in there maybe working on the sink drain or garbage disposal, faucet, whatever. The best and most comfortable way, as close as you can get, is to be on your back. Because this way, at least you're looking up. But the floor is usually 2 or 3 inches lower than the face frame of the cabinet. So, of course, that hits you right in the middle of the back or in your neck. And it's just super uncomfortable. So what can you do? Well, you can build some kind of platform or big thick foam, take the cushions off the couch as long as nobody else notices you're doing that. But none of that works as well as just using an ironing board. And that's a simple solution. Take an ironing board, collapse it, of course, and just lay it in the cabinet with the wide end, not the pointed end, the wide end inside the cabinet. And it's a nice gentle slope down to the floor, so it's plenty comfortable. It's padded. Of course, most ironing boards are padded, and that's all you need to do. You've already got the ironing board, so you don't have to make or build anything. You just lay it in there, and then you've got someplace, a little surface where you can lay down on. It's perfectly comfortable. You can slide your head inside the cabinet and finish your work.
Now, anybody that's ever had to do any work underneath the sink, which is one of those inevitable things if you own a home, will certainly appreciate this simple solution because they can just feel that piece of cabinetry there behind. But I've also found, Joe, if you grab your reciprocating saw and just cut out that middle stile, just cut that aggravating little board right there, cut it out. And you mentioned the sofa cushions, perfect. Grab a sofa cushion and don't forget your feet. You may want one for your feet, back there.
Yeah, you want to prop up your feet.
And a little clamp-on fan is kind of nice. I put a little clamp-on fan there. I've got a little battery-powered LED light over here.
Yeah, I think you fell asleep once in there. Danny was so comfortable. 2 hours later, he was snoring.
Well, no,
I was fix the sink, but he was well rested.
No, I wasn't under there. I was setting all this up for Sharon.
You're getting it comfortable for Sharon.
I just handed the tools down there that she needed, and then entertained her with stories. So
your word, entertain. Her word, annoying me. He's annoying me with stories again.
No, that certainly is a great simple solution, and I know after seeing you guys taping that particular one, it just makes so much sense. Like so many of the simple solutions, it's like, why didn't I think of that? Certainly a great one. I will remind you, you can see 500 video versions of these simple solutions by simply going to todayshomeowner.com/simple solutions. Now it's time for our DIY project of the week, how to clean soot from a brick fireplace surround. Now, stains from soot and smoke are a common problem on the surround around a wood-burning fireplace. Now, you might have brick, you might have tile, but any of those surfaces can be cleaned. To remove the black stains around a fireplace, use a strong degreaser, such as trisodium phosphate or TSP, which is available at home centers and hardware stores. We mention that quite a bit because it is a great cleaner, particularly when you're dealing with this. Now, what you want to do is make a paste from the TSP in a little bit of water. Then apply the paste to a sponge and use the sponge over all of the black stains. Then rinse the sponge thoroughly and remove any of the residue with clean water. Now, since brick is more porous, you may need to apply the TSP paste with a scrub brush when cleaning a brick surround. But you want to put your drop cloth down and make sure that you're not getting this everywhere and follow the directions as far as any safety precautions. But, Joe, I'll tell you, we used this on a fireplace that had soot on it for years and years. And, man, it was amazing how good that fireplace looked.
Yeah, that TSP is amazing stuff when it's clean. If you're painting any surface, a previously painted surface, you're repainting it, TSP is the product to use. It does come now in a spray bottle, but the traditional, it comes in a powder form. I much prefer the powder form, and especially in this case where you're cleaning soot from a fireplace, because you want to be able to mix up that paste as opposed. And plus, it's a lot more affordable to buy the powder form and just mix it to whatever consistency you need it.
All right, let's go right to our podcast question of the week, which you certainly can send us one anytime by going to todayshomeowner.com/podcast. Donna writes, I need some advice, please. I'm currently adding an addition to the back of my home. I recently discovered that when the brick masons or the concrete masons poured the concrete slab for the foundation, they removed the plastic vapor barrier. Now I'm looking for suggestions to fix this problem. I live in Florida, and moisture is a big problem. Should I insist that the masons redo the foundation, or is there a solution that will guarantee I will not have a moisture and mold issue in the future? Please help. I'm so frustrated right now. You just know my contractor's also trying to come up with a solution, but I want to know what my best options are. Thank you. And by the way, I love your show. Well, thank you very much, Don. And I hate to hear something like, why in the world would they remove the plastic? It seems like it would be more work than anything else. But, Joe, I think the first issue here is to make sure that curing time is taken care of. And that's always been traditionally 28 days before you can do anything to that slab.
That's right. And we often hear from homeowners that they pour a slab without putting down a plastic vapor barrier. I've never heard of someone putting it down, and then when they're ready to pour, they removed it. Why was it down there in the first place?
I don't get that at all.
But I certainly wouldn't ask them to remove the slab and pour a new one. I mean, that would cost. They wouldn't do it, first of all.
Right,
you'd have to sue them, and they still probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But they do make, for this situation, they do make waterproofers, concrete waterproofers. Dry Lock makes one. You can get it at Home Depot. It's about $25 a gallon. There are industrial strength ones that cost probably more than that, twice as much as that, rather. Bone Dry is one. It's called Bone Dry Concrete Sealer, specifically made for it's a penetrating sealer, but that's like $60 or $65 a gallon. But either way, yeah, you wait the 28 days or a little longer. Make sure it stays dry, obviously. It's not getting rained on. And then apply the waterproofer. It's like water. There's no way to really do it wrong. You just brush it, roll it, pour it out there, spread it around. Let the concrete soak up as much as it possibly can. If there are any areas where it doesn't, leaving puddles behind, then obviously you want to sop that up and remove it. But you'd be surprised when that's good and dry. It'll be like a sponge.
There you go, Donna. Well, certainly you know exactly what to tell your contractor. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take care of this. We appreciate Donna's question, and we would appreciate if you would send us a question at todayshomeowner.com/podcast. Also, we'd love to get comments. And here's one. Tamara writes, "Hey, glad I found your show and podcast. I love learning how to fix things around the house. Too many of the HGTV rehab shows are out there, and not enough repair and fix it shows. We really appreciate it." Well, thank you, Tamara. We appreciate you spending some time to do that. We also appreciate the wonderful reviews we get every week about our podcast and the information we're providing, and would encourage you to share your favorable reviews as well. Well, that pretty much wraps up our podcast for this week. I'm Danny Lipford along with Joe Truini. Thank you so much for being with us.